Adrian knew what was about to go down as he walked down the stairs to his father's office. It was going to be the 5th time this week. Adrian's father never paid any attention to him, even when he was doing everything his father asked him to do. But he was tired of being the goody-goody son. Since his father would never listen to him, he decided to take action. The first time he disobeyed. He just went out to lunch with some friends instead of returning home for lunch. The second time, he skipped fencing. Third, he bombed his Chinese test. And the fourth time, he ditched his bodyguard, the gorilla. Every time Adrian disobeyed, his father would yell and reprimand him. It hurt Adrian that instead of making sure he was okay, his father would harp on him, swearing and screaming in front of his only son. Adrian understood that his father was protective of him, especially since his mother's death. But if Adrian was the only one he had, why did his father keep pushing him away? All of this ran through his head as he headed downstairs. He didn't even realize he was at the bottom until Natalie, his father's assistant, called his name. "Adrian, your father will see you in his office now," Natalie said in her bland tone. But for once, she actually sounded a little worried. As Adrian started to open the door to his father's office, he wondered if this time he overdid it. He walked in and saw his father standing in front of the painting of his mother. "You wanted to see me, father?" Adrian asked bluntly. He already had the argument played out in his head. Let his father yell, and then he could get out of the room as quick as possible. Adrian's father didn't waste another second. "Just what do you think you are doing? The 5th time this week you have disobeyed and rebelled. Today was by far the worst. Cutting up my own designs, just so you wouldn't have to do a photo shoot? This is unacceptable," his father yelled. "No, you're unacceptable," Adrian yelled back. His tone surprised him. This was not part of the plan, but he was so fed up with his father, he just couldn't take it anymore. Apparently, his tone surprised his father too. "Young man, you do not speak to me." "Well, when am I supposed to speak to you? You never talk or listen to me. The only time you do is when I'm in trouble," Adrian cried. "Please, father, stop shutting yourself off. I know you miss Mom, but you're not the only one. I miss her too. Then you shut me off from everything else, and I am so lonely. What kind of father does that to his only son?" Now there were tears streaming down his face. "I said do not speak to your father that way. Never speak to me like that, Adrian." His father's voice was quiet but harsh. Then he did the unexpected. Adrian's father turned around and slapped him. It stung Adrian's face. He was speechless. Adrian, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to," his father stuttered, but Adrian interrupted him. "Don't worry, father. Not only will I never speak to you again, you'll never have to see me again either," he growled. Adrian busted open the doors, startling Natalie, and charged back up the stairs to his room. He closed his door, and as soon as he locked it, Plag flew out of his pocket. "Well, that was unexpected. And awful. Are you okay, Adrian?" Plag asked, concerned about his owner. "Not now, Plag," Adrian mumbled. Adrian grabbed his foosball table and shoved it in front of his locked door. Then he grabbed his couch and put it in front of the door as well. What are you doing?" Plag asked. "I need some fresh air." "Plag, claws out!" Adrian cried. Adrian loves to transform. When Plag's power fills him, he feels he is not only just putting a mask on his face, he is putting a mask over his whole body. He's not only putting on the costume, he is the costume. He is no longer the shy and perfect Adrien Agreste. He is Chat Noir. He is brave, courageous, and destructive. He pounced out his window and leaped out into the lit-up city of Paris. He was sweating, panting. Before he knew it, he was crying. He'd stopped running. Tears were streaming down his hurt face. Nobody loved him. His father, the only family alive other than his cousin and aunt, did not love him. His father ignored him and abused him. He couldn't take it anymore. He was just a lost kitten, alone in a dark, scary world. with no one to love him. He sunk down to his knees, sobbing and broken. "No," he yelled. He was not going to pity himself. He was strong and fearless, the savior of Paris. No one could hurt him. Cat Noir started getting angrier and angrier, at his father, at himself, at the world. He turned around, his eyes glowing green from rage, and saw a sign, an advertisement. He saw him, Adrian. Perfect, dreamy Adrian. He charged at it. He felt he was growing bigger with every step. He didn't even have to say cataclysm. He was filled with so much hate and spite. He crashed straight through the board. He destroyed the board by him just being close to it. He was shocked when he watched the ad turn black and crumble to dust. He didn't even say his word of power. He felt too destructive and realized what he had done. He was too powerful and vulnerable. He needed to get his power in control, or this hate would take over. If his hate took over, he might hurt someone, and he didn't want to do that. He was a superhero. He had to get back in control. He was about to leave when he saw a familiar balcony light up. "I wonder what she is doing up," he thought. Cat Noir jumped. He loves being a different person. He doesn't have to be perfect or expected of. With his power, he was the knight, stalking and being watchful of everything that fell under his bright green stare. Everything that stood in his way was cast under his shadow. He felt the wind ruffle his dirty blonde hair. His breathing was hard and ragged as he sprinted towards his destination. He leaped one last time and landed on Marinette du Penchang's balcony. He was still so big and powerful and full of anger that he made a very impactful and loud entrance. Marinette, who had been staring at the Eiffel Tower, turned around, startled. She turned around so fast, she hit her foot against the railing she had been leaning on. She then continued to yelp in pain and flail her arms to catch herself from falling, but she only managed to knock down an umbrella. She fell hard against the floor of the balcony, while the umbrella popped open and fell on top of her. Marinette lay there, all helpless and uncomfortable, sprawled out all over the floor. She let out a sigh, blowing the bangs out of her face. "Ow!" Marinette cried. She looked hopelessly tangled, and Cat Noir felt a bit guilty. He rushed over to her and picked a chair up off her. He picked up the umbrella and set it next to the chair. Marinette went to push herself up, but then fell back down with a cry of alarm. "Marinette, are you okay?" Cat asked. His face was scrunched up with worry. If it weren't for him, she never would have fallen. He didn't mean for her to be so surprised. "Huh?" said Marinette. It was a little weird hearing Cat Noir say her actual name instead of Ladybug. It took her a moment to realize he was talking to her. Oh! Yes, I'm fine, Cat Noir. I probably just twisted my ankle. But don't worry, I fall and bust myself up all the time. I'm so clumsy." Cat bent down and took her strongly by the hand and pulled her up. He sat her down in the chair he put up earlier. He walked over to the railing and rested his elbows on it, letting his hands dangle over the edge. He looked down. "I'm so sorry, Marinette. I didn't mean to startle you. It's my fault you got hurt." Cat sighed. Now it was Marinette's turn to be worried. Cat is sorry? Usually Cat Noir would make a joke about how silly she looked. He never blamed himself. This was the first time she was seeing Cat Noir truly be sad. Sure, he got upset from time to time, especially when Ladybug was rejecting him. But he also understood her situation and didn't get too upset. But what she was seeing now concerned her. His eyes were glowing a brighter green than usual. His expression on his face was painful to look at. He looked melancholy, wistful. Marinette had never seen him like this. She really hoped it wasn't because of her accident. Just in case, she decided to reassure him. "Your fault? No, Cat Noir. It's not your fault. Look, I'm fine, see?" Marinette said as she slowly rose from her chair. She wobbled a little bit, but then she was fine. She limped over to Cat Noir and stood beside him, leaning on the rail for support. Now, I know you didn't just stop by to stop by. You're a superhero. Why would someone as awesome as you be stopping at my balcony? The daughter of a baker is not that important. Is something wrong, Cat Noir? Cat Noir looked surprised. Marinette knew him as Adrien, but she had only run into Cat Noir a couple of times. How did you know something was wrong with me? Cat asked. For a split second, Marinette looked a little scared, like she said something she shouldn't have, but she answered him so quickly he forgot about her hesitation. Huh? Your body language, Marinette stuttered. Body language? Yes, body language, Marinette stated. She sounded more sure of herself this time. Your head is droopy, your eyes are wet, and you aren't making any puns. Everyone knows that Cat Noir is known for his flirty puns. Cat blinked. Then he blushed and shrugged. Marinette laughed. I'm surprised you didn't make a pun about my catastrophe earlier. Cat smirked, and Marinette felt his mood shift over. Instead of being dark and broken, he seemed to have shifted over back to his normal self. The suave Cat Noir that she adored was back. Good one, incest, but no one can beat my cat puns. It's impossible. Marinette giggled. Of course, no one can beat your possum cat puns. They both started laughing, which had been Marinette's plan the whole time. She hated seeing her kitty looking so lost. Thank you, Cat whispered. Marinette asked. You were right. Something has been bothering me tonight. My home life isn't the best. I'm really lonely and my father barely even talks to me. Not too long ago, my father, he hit me. Oh, Cat, are you okay? As soon as those words came out of her mouth, she wanted to kick herself. Obviously, he wasn't okay. No, not really. My father is really the only family I have, and all he does is push me away. He hurt me on the inside and out. I was fed up with him, so I left. I was just wandering around when I saw your balcony light up. I was wondering why you were awake and wanted to make sure everything was all right. I, also didn't really want to be alone, Cat explained. Oh, I just couldn't seem to fall asleep. It was kind of you to check on me, though. Cat smiled at Marinette, and she smiled back. While she was smiling, he turned around to full-on look at her. She was wearing a white tank top with black dots on it. It had a little pink flower printed on the top right. The pink color matched with her loose pink sweatpants. Marinette's hair was down and messy from her fall. Her big blue eyes stared up at him, and they reminded him of ladybugs. He had never really paid any close attention to Marinette before, and he just realized how cute she was. Cat realized he had been staring and blushed. Then he tried to look at anything other than Marinette. Well, I'm really glad you stopped by, and if there's anything else you need, just tell me. I'll try to help you, seeing as you save me and hundreds of other people every day, spoke Marinette, breaking the silence. Cat Noir blinked. Nobody had ever been so nice to him. He means, as Adrian, people see him as the perfect son of Gabriel Agreste. People adore and pamper him, but it all seems fake. What if he wasn't a famous model? Would all those people still adore and admire him? They probably wouldn't. They were only addicted and in love with the fame. But Marinette, she was real. Her voice was tender and soft, like she was coaxing a scared kitten into her home. Cat Noir also knew she wasn't just being nice because he was a superhero. She genuinely seemed concerned about him. She even had that cute, worried expression that his mom used to have when she was concerned about him. Cat Noir! Marinette shouted, startling him out of his thoughts. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I just said your name 3 times already. Oh, sorry, Marinette. Cat smiled sheepishly. He should have been paying better attention to her, since she was being so kind to him. He should treat her with more respect. What did you need? I was asking if you needed anything. Well, is it okay if I stay on the balcony for tonight? He was shocked when those words came out of his mouth. He hadn't been planning to ask or stay here. Going back to his house was out of the question. There was no way he was going back there. But he realized he didn't have anywhere else to go. Still, he felt bad for asking. Marinette had already done so much. Oh, sorry, you don't have to let me stay. Of course you can stay. I'll bring out some pillows and blankets, and you can sleep on the lounge chair over by the window, Marinette interrupted. She understood that he didn't want to go back from where he came from. Cat Noir was her friend, and she wasn't going to make him sleep on the streets like an alley cat. I'll be right back, and Marinette disappeared into her room. Cat Noir was stunned. Marinette had listened to him, kept him company, and now was giving him a place to stay, and all he had done in return was nearly give her a heart attack. He still felt bad about scaring her, and he decided he would make it up to her. He just didn't know what, yet. I'm back, Marinette sang. She climbed back onto the balcony, balancing pillows, a blanket, and a plate of chocolate-covered croissants. You looked a little hungry, so I went downstairs and grabbed a few pastries for you. Marinette smiled at Cat Noir as she set everything down. He was speechless as she started organizing the pillows and the blanket on the lounge chair. Okay, Cat Noir, this is the best I can do. I try to make the chair as comfy as possible. She winked at him as she said her cat pun. He stood up and stared at her. How can I thank you? Cat whispered, flabbergasted. Oh, come on, Cat. It's just a chair with some pillows thrown on it. It's not that much. Marinette shifted as Cat Noir got closer to her. It may not be much, but you've helped me a lot just by giving me anything at all, even if it was small. He stepped closer to her and hugged her. He was relieved when she hugged him back. No problem, Marinette whispered in his ear. If you're a hero every day, then I can be a hero for tonight. They held each other for a while, the cool breeze tickling them as the night danced above them in the starry sky. Cat Noir felt all of his hate and anger drain out of him. He breathed in Marinette's sweet scent and felt a feeling of calm. He would have held her all night, but Marinette's phone dinged, disturbing the silence, and Cat Noir reluctantly let go of her so she could check it. Sorry, Marinette blushed as she pulled her phone out of her pocket. You can get settled, and I'll put the croissants right here, she said as she put the chocolate pastries on a little table. If you need anything else, Cat, just tell me. I'll be in my room. She turned around and looked down to check her phone. Cat Noir was about to settle into his new comfy lounge chair when he heard Marinette gasp in alarm. He heard her phone fall to the ground as she started running to her room. Marinette, is everything all right? He asked. Marinette kept advancing towards her room. Cat Noir heard her taking deep breaths. He caught up to her and grabbed her arm, turning her around. Marinette's face was pale and her expression was mixed with fear, stress, and worry. There were tears in her eyes threatening to fall. Marinette, what's wrong? Cat asked. He started to panic. She had been fine before, but right after she checked her phone. My friend Adrien aggressed. He's gone. He's gone missing, Marinette whimpered. Cat Noir froze. Adrien, isn't that the, model guy? Cat stammered. He hated lying to Marinette, but he had to keep his identity a secret. Yes, he's missing. He ran away. His dad's assistant texted all of Adrian's friends, and they're starting to search for him. I have to go look for him, Marinette cried. Cat Noir was stopped mid-sentence when the ground started shaking. Marinette froze. They both turned around, and they were face to face with the giant red gorilla. He started sniffing the air, and looked Cat Noir straight in the eyes. Cat was frozen solid. What the heck was going on? Suddenly, faster than a gorilla should have been able to move, the giant animal grabbed Marinette. She screamed, and the sound snapped Cat Noir out of his frozen stance. Marinette, don't worry, I'm coming, Cat yelled. He leaped towards the gorilla's large face and kicked it straight in the nose. The gorilla growled and dropped Marinette. Marinette fell from the gorilla's grasp and tumbled back onto the balcony. She cried out in alarm as hot pain flared into her shoulder, but she forced herself back up. She had to help Chat Noir defeat this gorilla, which was obviously an Akuma victim, but the deep scarlet color of the gorilla made her uneasy. A thought came to her head, but it was such a horrible thought she hoped it wasn't true. Sadly, her gut told her otherwise. Why, oh why did this have to happen now? Today had been pretty bad, and now it was going to get worse. Adrian had seemed so distant and quiet at school this past week. He wouldn't even talk to his best friend. Now, Adrian had run away, which wasn't like him. What if he was hurt? Hungry? Alone? What if she never saw him again? No, she would find him. She would find her lost love. But this Akuma would have to be taken care of first. She stumbled into her room and looked out the window. The gorilla had moved away from her house and was stomping on the streets of Paris. The gorilla kept looking inside houses and down streets, paying no attention to Chat Noir, who was attacking from behind. That's weird. Wouldn't he be trying to capture Chat Noir to take his Miraculous? What is this gorilla looking for? Marinette thought as she watched the Akuma victim turn down another street. Marinette realized she couldn't just stand there and watch Chat Noir do all the work. She needed to transform. "Tiki, where are you?" Marinette called out. She turned around and saw her little red friend zoom around her room and then stop right in front of her. "Marinette, what was wrong with Chat Noir?" Tiki asked. "No time to talk, Tiki. I think Scarlet Moth is back. Paris is in trouble and Adrien is missing. I've got to transform," Marinette whimpered. She hoped Adrien was okay. She was so worried about him. "Tiki, spots on!" Marinette commanded. Tiki was instantly swept away and absorbed into Marinette's magical earrings. Marinette felt power surge through her body. Feeling this power is like a boost of confidence. Her senses felt sharper, and she felt 1,000 times stronger. No more Marinette the klutz. She was the masked savior of Paris. She was Ladybug. Ladybug grabbed her yo-yo and leaped off her balcony. She was starting to chase after Chat Noir and the gorilla when she saw other Akuma victims wandering the streets of Paris. All of their costumes were a dark red color. She had been right. Scarlet Moth. Ladybug took her yo-yo and slid up on the top face. She absolutely loved her yo-yo. It was magical, and she could use it for multiple things that were incredibly useful to her life as a superhero. She scrolled through the very few contacts she had on her yo-yo phone and clicked on the contact labeled Chat Noir. He picked up on the third ring. "Hey, Bugaboo, could use your help," Cat said. "Cat, I told you to stop calling me Bugaboo. How about you stop flirting with me and look around you?" she told her partner while rolling her eyes. "What you... wait." Ladybug heard rustling through the receiver, and her heart stopped. "Cat, are you all right?" Ladybug didn't hear anything and started to panic even more. "Cat, are you okay?" "Sorry, milady, I'm fine. I just realized that there is more than one Akuma, and I needed to find a safe place to talk to you. Hope I didn't scare you," Chat Noir teased. Ladybug sighed in relief. "So you see that there is more than one Akuma?" "Oh yeah. All their costumes are also red, so you know what that means." "Scarlet Moth," Ladybug huffed. "I already figured that part out, but don't you notice something else?" "Hmm?" "They don't seem to be attacking anything. Usually Akuma victims are out for revenge, or looking for us to take our Miraculous. These Akumas don't seem to be doing either of those." "You're right. As always, milady. They seem to be searching for something. Or someone. I think I might know what they're looking for. Meet me at the Eiffel Tower, stat. On your way there, keep record of what Akumas you pass by," Ladybug instructed. "You got it," Chat Noir answered. Chat Noir clicked off his phones and peeked out of the alley he was hiding in. Out on the street, he spotted 4 Akumas. Sadly, he recognized all of them as some of his friends from school. Just great. His father abused him, and now all of his friends were being akumatized. But no time to pout. He needed to get to the Eiffel Tower. He jumped out of the alley and onto the rooftops of Paris. He sprinted towards the famous tower and leaped. Ladybug was already at the Eiffel Tower when Chat Noir landed beside her. Chat Noir's eyes shimmered when he saw her. Just being near her made him feel warm inside. Ladybug was the most incredible girl he had ever met. She was beautiful and full of confidence. Without her, Paris would be wiped off the map. He was madly in love with her, but she liked someone else, someone who wasn't him. It hurt him, but they were here to save Paris. They were partners. He just wished they could be a different kind of partner. Every time he saw her, his heart soared, only to get crushed again. He shook his head. He could fantasize about her later. Right now, the city needed them. Still, he couldn't help himself when he knelt down on one knee in front of Ladybug. He threw his hand to one side and bowed his head. "My lady," he spoke softly as he looked up into her beautiful bluebell eyes. He smiled all cheesy and goofy. Ladybug couldn't help but smile back. She giggled at his dramatic entrance. "Silly kitty, get up. We have work to do," Ladybug ordered. Chat Noir did as she said and got up to his feet. "Okay, let's get down to business. What Akumas did you see on the way here?" Ladybug asked. "Well, I saw Gorzilla, the Bubbler, Horrificator, Princess Fragrance, and the Gamer," Cat reported. I saw Stoneheart, Dark Cupid, Lady Wi-Fi, Reflecta, and Evillustrator." "But why all these Akumas? There are so many more villains than this. Shouldn't Scarlet Moth be re-akumatizing everyone?" "But people can only be akumatized if they're feeling a negative emotion. So these victims must be upset about something. What could all these villains have in common?" "So you're saying that these victims are trying to do what they want first instead of trying to take her Miraculous? And they're all looking for the same thing?" Cat was stumped. This was all so confusing and made his brain hurt. What could all these Akumas possibly have in common? "Well, if you really think about it," Ladybug thought out loud, "all these Akumas, except Gorzilla, are teenagers that go to Francis DuPont High School." Cat Noir froze when she said that. That is where he, or rather, his secret identity, went to high school. Ladybug kept going. "If you checked your reports tonight, there is a missing teenager that attends that high school, the son of Gabriel Agreste. I'm guessing that his friends from school got worried or scared that their friend was missing, so Hawk Moth took that chance to turn into Scarlet Moth and akumatize all of them." "So, all of these teenagers are akumatized because of this missing boy?" Cat stammered. "Not sure, just a guess, but it's the best guess we have, so we are going to have to act on it," Ladybug said. Cat Noir swallowed. His mouth felt like sandpaper. He suddenly felt very weak, but he couldn't let Ladybug down. Still, he asked one more question. "What do you mean by, we're going to act on it?" He already feared the answer, and to confirm it, Ladybug looked at him with complete certainty. "We're going to find the missing boy before the Akumas do. We are going to find Adrien Agreste," explained Ladybug. Cat started shaking. He didn't think running away would have caused so much trouble. He just wanted to get away from his father. He didn't mean for all this to happen. He didn't mean to worry all of his friends. The stress was too much. He was still hurt about what happened with his father. Cat Noir's eyes started to water. His vision started to fade. "Cat, are you okay? Cat? Wait! No! Cat Noir!" Ladybug yelled. Cat Noir's vision blacked out. He lost consciousness and fell backwards, right off the Eiffel Tower. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Lost and Found as much as I enjoyed writing it. I am currently working on part 2 and am very excited. This was my very first time writing a fan fiction, and I'm a little curious about what you guys think. Give me some feedback in the comments below. Thank you!